Good evening, Whitehead SEO Group. How are you doing today, guys? I hope you are great. I feel very excited. I have a friend of mine sitting next to me, Mark Preston. We're going to be discussing a great topic, which I'm sure piqued your interest a lot because we got a lot of questions coming from you. Thanks for this. So we have about 15 of them that we're going to try and discuss while the live session is happening. And in case we are unable to, Mark promised that he's probably going to wrap it up in a post sometime after the live session is over. So without further ado, hi, Mark. How are you doing today? Welcome.
Hi. It's great to be here. Fantastic to be here. Subject is really I'm passionate about because I've been in the industry many years, 16, I think, something like that. And I've always built agencies up and run it. So I understand every little issue from the business side that goes on. And I've wasted thousands of pounds. And hopefully, by me contributing here, it will stop others from wasting thousands of pounds as well. Obviously, what works for me might not work for you, but at least, you can get some idea about it.
Yeah. All right. So can you just say a few words about yourself? What have you been up to recently? I know you have a very busy schedule. You've been training teams all around England, but it's better for you to brief us about the latest things that have happened to you.
Yeah. Over the past year, I've been going around the UK and training big companies, and I've also been training the digital marketing professionals in agencies on SEO techniques related to themselves. I never script anything. When I go into the training session, it's all about them and what they need to know. I've wrote a book that's going to come out very soon, pending Amazon authorising it. And apart from that, I've taken a big contract on. And just lots of things happening. I'm all over the UK at the moment. But it's all good stuff.
All right, just can you say a couple of words about this book? Because I know how much it means to you. I'm looking forward to it going live, being published. And I'm sure that the folks that are watching us will also be interested in at least hearing about what this book will be all about. Is it going to be about the business side of SEO again, like lead generation, closing deals, getting better paying clients?
Yeah, there's no techniques at all in the book. It's basically how I've gone about throughout the years, starting, running and building an agency up, and the pitfalls on different methods of generating leads, selling, and pricing as well. That's a big thing, how to price things. And it's just from front to back, but is what I do say, I got into a stage with my agencies where I got my own customers to do the selling for me. And that's in the book as well.
Great. Actually, some of these questions are probably in our list right now, so people will be able to get some answers right now during the live session. So without further ado, folks, because we have a lot on our plate right now, so let's start with the first question that came from you. Thanks for all the interest again. It means a lot to us. I mean, that's why we're doing these lives in the first place, so much appreciated. So the first question is this. How do you get your first SEO client ever? What are the best strategies when you're just starting out?
Well, for me, it was a case of I tried, and it was so hard because everyone was saying, well, give us examples of your work. And I said, well, I'm just starting out. I haven't got examples. So then after a month, I thought, that's it. I'm not going to try and generate any leads now. And I set up about 5 different websites in 5 totally different industries, and I got them ranked. Then I've used them as my portfolio. But the downside to that is I remember setting a flat pack builder website up, and it was #1 on Google, a flat pack builders, and everyone were contacting me, asking me to come round to the house. So then I started generating new clients and building a portfolio. Then the websites I had, I sold them as business opportunities, and it started from that. Is unfortunately, when you're first starting out, it's catch-22. You know, people, you have to, you know, build trust up. And how can you build trust up without that? But you have to get your own website ranking. That's the #1 priority.
Yeah. So basically, it has to do with you defining your own services to yourself first, and then to try and go for them to get some rankings, to push some nice content, which is, you know, tailored around those phrases that you're hoping to get clients from. And this is how it all starts.
Yeah, you need to obviously create a portfolio of your target audience. There's no point going after big national clients if your portfolio's full of small local builders. So, you know, you have to decide first who you want to target, then build your portfolio up based on that.
Yeah. All right, great. So this takes us to our second question. So what is the recommended minimum experience to have before trying to pursue leads, before you even start offering your own services? I guess this question has it has to do with the ethical part of things as well, besides everything else. So what is your take on this one?
Well, I know people that's been doing SEO for a long time and they're just rubbish, you know, and then I know people that's only been in the industry a couple of years and they're really good. You know, for me, experience is based on lots of things. But again, it's proving yourself, and that's more important because clients, all they care about is themselves. They don't really care that you've been doing it 16, 20, 25 years. If you've been doing local SEO for 10 years, then you approached a large brand. Well, experience don't mean anything because you haven't been working at their level.
Yeah, fair enough. I think so as well. I think still there is some ethical side probably because our industry has such a negative. People have trying to steal your money, to promise you the sky and never deliver. Actually, so we'll be talking about some of these aspects in the following questions. But I think that one should feel prepared by himself first. I mean, to feel that you are certain that you can help other business grow besides your own, right?
Definitely.
All right. So the next question, number 3. So what do you need to do, and how fast what do I need to do, and how fast do I need to do it to show my clients that SEO really works? So I think has to do with everything we discussed so far, the mistrust, you know, the lack of trust, maybe even, I don't know, authority of most of the companies that there is a good reason for this. We discussed that the results and the disappointed clients are speaking by themselves, you know, but still. So what's your take on this one?
Yeah, well, obviously when clients come to you is they want results. Yeah, but they also need to know that when results are achieved, it's going to drive the business forward. Right, now it's up to you to explain that to them. and show them that, yes, there is a market. Yes, people are looking for what you provide. Yes, they're looking for X, Y, Z. And it's your job as the SEO to educate the client. And basically then is they can see the numbers. Then you ask questions like, well, what's your conversion rate? Is out of, every phone calls, how many do you convert? And once you ask these sort of questions, you can then do the maths in front of them and say, look, well, so many people search this, so many people that. If, when we get results, estimate traffic volumes, conversion rates, then X, Y, Z, your average customer is worth £1,000, boom, that's it. You invest X amount, that's the potential return.
So I know that because we know each other, we are friends and all, but people don't know you that well probably. And I know that your point of view when it comes to delivering SEO services has everything to do with the ROI. I mean, do you think that's your philosophy? Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think that you can help those businesses to actually grow with your help? Otherwise, you wouldn't have taken them and worked with them in the first place, right?
Yeah, I mean, I take companies on because I want them to stay with me long term. If I feel as though I can't help them, I just won't take them on. That's as simple as that. But it's very difficult to show the ROI because there's lots of other things involved you don't control. Mm-hmm. For instance, I was working with a company down London, and I got them to the top. There were loads of traffic coming in, and I thought, and they turned around and said, "We're not increasing revenue." So I put myself in the shoes of one of their customers, and I phoned their number, and out of 20 times I phoned it only got answered twice. And I said, "Well, that's the problem." And they said, "Well, the guy that's on reception, he also does another job." I said, "Well, it's not my fault. You're not generating business, it's yours. So in them circumstances, then you have to relate to the client and say, look, this is the problem." But it's a minefield really. Unless it's an e-commerce site, you don't fully control the ROI. Because if they're really bad at selling, then you've no chance, but you've done your job.
Yeah, that's one of the questions lower in our list actually, because there are a lot of businesses that think that SEO is like panacea or something. They can just pay for it. Of course, they want to go cheap if possible, but even if they don't, they think that the SEO expert once he comes on board, he's gonna change the whole business for them. And even though to some extent that's right, because even by himself, an SEO expert, if he knows his stuff is powerful enough and can definitely make a difference. But there are a lot other things in this equation. And once you drive the traffic, once you get the rankings that are able to get this traffic, from then on, it's really their own job, isn't it? I mean, it depends on their prices. It depends on how they deliver their goods. It depends on the quality of their products themselves. And a lot of stuff which are outside SEO's control, right? Yeah.
I mean, a client I took on last week, his no word of a lie, his inquiry to conversion rate is 50%. I mean, it's gold dust to me, because the more sales they can make, is they're willing to increase the monthly budget. And that's how it works. That's how you grow with the client.
Yeah, you have to invest first so that you can get something out of it, right? That's the basis of things. All right, this takes us to the next question, which is a bit more into the nitty-gritty of things. So when you get a new SEO client, how would your first 6 months look like? So I think it has to do with the actual activities that have to be performed within a 6-month range.
Yeah, well, this all depends on obviously what the client's objectives are. Because sometimes if you think, oh, well, this is the path we need to go down, it's not always beneficial for that business. So within the first 6 months, it's about planning things out month to month. Is obviously you've got like a strategy for 6 months, but I always talk to the client on a month to month. So I say, well, this is the plan of action this month. At the end of the month, we'll see what's happened and move forward. So the strategy might change month to month depending on what's happened, because we can't control our competition or anything. But for me, that way, the client understands what you're doing and they know that you are interested, you are doing the job. Because they, well, you know, even if it means going above and beyond, we'll still make it happen this way. But yeah, the first 6 months, the reason that's the problem, people think there is a checklist. And the people that use checklists for every client, it's a no-go area, because you should treat every website and every client individual.
Yeah. So, I know this, but because we are meeting with tons of clients and they usually fall under one and the same trap. They think that SEO has a concrete step-by-step, it happens step by step. For example, I tend to explain to them that everything should start with an audit. The best case scenario would be for it to be thorough, on page and off page. And there is one thing that starts to pick up pace, which is called content audit. So it has to do with the on page, but if they have a lot of articles published, for example, I think that's another type of audit which focuses on the content itself. So let's say that they have a blog section with 500 articles they have published. So of course content is part of the on page, but if it's too excessive, if they have tons of it, maybe it's a matter of a separate type of audit, which is the content audit. So do you think that such things like on page, off page, maybe content audit is mandatory when you take somebody on board as a new client?
Oh no, always you have to do an audit at the very start, even in the pre-sale stage, in the sales stage, because if you don't do an audit, how do you know what you're selling? How do you know what issues you have? How do you know you can even achieve the results if you don't do an audit? So I always do an audit within the sales stage. Okay, depending on the website, they might have to pay for that audit. Then at least I've confirmed them. You know, it's a case of them, it's like something, you know, because they've paid some money, you've got a lot more chance of turning them into a client. But yeah, an audit has to be done.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. I know that people are usually a bit cheap when it comes to starting with an audit. They say, yeah, we think we've covered the basics, or we just finished working with a company which performed these audits for us. So let's just start right away with link building or content creation. It's usually link building because people tend to think that link building is all in all in the SEO. I mean, it definitely is a very important thing, but I don't think there is a single case in which you should start with building links when you get a new client. What's your take on this?
No. In fact, I have got websites ranking with 0 links, brand new websites. Even in London, you know, competitors in London is got them ranking number 1 with really, really good technical and on page.
Yeah.
You know, for me, links is something afterwards you should think about. But, you know, obviously, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, of course. Of course. So let's move to the next question from the audience. So how to make sure the discussion with the client is on business side of things, not the technical side? I think that our member meant that the business side is to talk about ROI, to talk about generating leads, sales, and the technical side is talking about just traffic and rankings. So how to make sure the discussion is going in the right direction?
Yeah, I mean, in the pre-sales, the after-sales, the monthly discussions, I never ever talk technical with any client at all. Is because as soon as you do that, you've lost them. Is you need to sit down and explain things in a simple to understand way, but use things that they can relate to. So when, like, fixing all the technical issues on the site, I'd say something like, well, you wouldn't put petrol in a car with a broken engine. You know, that way they get it instantly. It's just, oh, now I understand what you're saying. And this is the way, and when you talk to clients like that, you've got them engaged. You see, is the worst thing you can do is start ramming off H1 tags and this and that. And they don't care. You know, they've come to you for a reason. They don't have time, they don't have the experience, or they haven't a clue what to do. So that by talking technical, it's just a red flag, like, oh, here we go again. But sitting down and just talking normally, and there's always scenarios in real life you can discuss a certain technique or certain aspect. And I always think that that's why a lot of comedians are really good, because they talk about everyday life.
Yeah, so it's like the power of storytelling.
Yeah,
you're just trying to picture things with some scenarios from real life so that people can get it more easily. I think, personally, I think that if you are a good expert enough, you should be able to digest those technical terms into easy to understand language so that people can resonate with it. They can understand it, not to try to impress them by talking about terms that they have never heard of. Because, all right, this might sound like a good idea at first because you are bragging and all, you know, but I don't think that's the end goal of any type of pre-sales conversation or any type of SEO conversations in that matter. So you should be able to make the person sitting in front of you understand what SEO is all about, what you can do about their company. You know, instead of saying, have you heard about RankBrain? It does this and that. And, you know, voice search is the future because of this and that algorithm that, you know, is implemented in it. And they're just like lost in the third second of the conversation. So, yeah, I think plain words are very important, especially in the pre-sale talks, because they would want to be sure that such talks will happen afterwards and during the campaign, right? If you're talking things that they cannot understand, everybody would be asking themselves, okay, so what if all the consultations, what if all the reports are like this? You know, I wouldn't get anything. So, yeah. The next question, can we and should we give guarantee for specific rankings to our clients? That's a very common one.
I tell you what, in fact, I've just written an article today on this very subject because of lots of conversations I've had recently. For me, obviously, we don't control things, but as SEOs, we are standing in front of a prospect telling them, you need to come with us because we can provide results. So, as an SEO, you should be able to deliver on your promise you've made. Now, for me, there's always, during the pricing structure, there's always something in there where I take the responsibility. So it might be, a lot of times I'll do it on a sliding scale. So basically the payment goes up depending on the results. Or it might be that, okay, we'll start at a very minimal level until results are achieved, but then you're agreed to pay a premium to maintain it. You know, there's always something there set in place that I say, right, you've come to me, you trust in my word, now I can deliver, but, you know, for whatever reason, you won't be out to pocket big time if it doesn't happen. You know, for me, it's a case of, it's not the word providing guarantees, but as an SEO, if you feel as though you cannot achieve that result, you should never ever take the business on. Mm-hmm. You know, I've turned business away because you look at it and you think, right, well, you know, obviously it's never going to happen. Or if they've got a lower budget, you say, well, that can't happen, but if we start with these goals and work us way up, you know, it will. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's a case of, why shouldn't the SEOs take responsibility when they've stood there saying they can do it? Mm-hmm. You know, that's my personal feeling. And have I ever provided a client's money back? Yes. You know, it's because of situations that's happened during the campaign out of my control. Yes, I have. But, you know, it's a case of, but I give my word, I could do it. And that's my own personal view. And because of that I tend to get a lot more respect and a lot more good clients. And once the results are achieved, because they know you've actually physically put your own money where your mouth is, they're a lot more willing to open the wallets and increase the budget.
Yeah, makes total sense. But if we have to offer something as a guarantee, what should it look like? Should there be a guarantee of some improvement without any numbers to it? Just to say, okay, at least I can say that you will be noticing improvement in your traffic stats, ranking stats. Is this something that we should refer to as a promise?
Well, it all depends on the client. And you need to think about what their goals are. I've had clients who say, I don't care about anything, I just want to beat them. You know, that's their own personal objective. They don't care about anything else. They just want to beat Joe Bloggs down the road. You know, that's them. Whereas others, it's like they've totally different goals. So obviously, whatever guarantee you put in place should be based on their goals. But as an SEO, you should actually make sure that the goals are in line with what can be achieved. So, you know, just because the money's there doesn't mean you should take it on if you're not 100% confident it can be done.
Yeah. Again, we're referring to the ethical side of things, which should be there all the time. So the next question is pretty common, actually. You tapped into it for a while at the beginning of the live session, but now, what if your clients' traffic and rankings are improving, but not their sales? What should we do as SEOs in such case?
Put yourself in the shoes of the customer. And whatever the sales process is, you should do it. For me, I always get my wife to go through the sales process because she's not technical one little bit. And so she's the perfect person to do it. Now, if she says, well, I can't understand what to click on, or I can't understand this, it's about going through the sales process to find out what the issue is. Because obviously, as an SEO, if you got the website ranking and the traffic's flooding in, if they're not increasing new business, it doesn't matter whose fault it is, they're not going to carry on. You see, so you need to be there to help them. It might not be your fault. It might be something else out of your control, but it's up to you. You need to locate the issue. Because if it can be, I mean, for instance, 2 months ago, I was working with somebody and the website had been built 1 year ago, and by going through the sales process, I found out they got the wrong phone number on it. Wow. You know, like suddenly, change the phone number, oh, it started ringing. You know, I mean, something simple like that, you know, because you never know what the problem is during the sales process. And that's how it's working with the client. You're not just somebody that's there in the background. It's important that you communicate and work with the client.
Yeah. That's very true, and everybody should be dedicating themselves to such philosophy, working philosophy. So this leads us to. Yeah.
I just forgot to say on that last point is I do find as well, if there's rankings and traffic, sometimes the conversions doesn't happen because they're trying to drive the wrong type of traffic. So I found that a lot. So that's one of the scenarios.
Yeah, absolutely. So it might be, I mean, wrong from the very start, and then whatever you do with it is just wrong. So the next question again has to do with this topic. So what is the process to estimate the results you are able to provide for a certain client? So we're still on the subject of putting yourself in clients' shoes and trying to do some rough estimate. Is this even possible to some point?
Yeah, of course it's possible. Is during the pre-sale stage, it's up to you to determine that, yes, there is a market for this. Yes, people are looking for what you provide. You know, there's all these issues people are talking about. There's all this, it's up to you. And from that, you can estimate things. Like for instance, but it's not just based on search volume. It's not based on search volume because I've generated links for clients that's driven lots of direct traffic that's not gone through the search engine, but it's part of the process. So I've generated the link. Because I generate links that drive business, each link on its own does drive business. So, you know, that's the potential. So it's something that comes about when you are, you know, you've got a process in place and you think, right, yeah, well, this is the starting point, then we'll increase it. But it's about setting yourself objective goals, you know, and going from there. But yeah, I mean, there's loads of tools out there that you can, you know, you can estimate what traffic volumes and what sort of business but it's again research. You have to do the research.
Yeah, that's the core point of everything. So the next question has to do with standing out of the crowd. So how to differentiate yourself from the plethora of SEOs so you don't compete on price but value? Because people and companies seem to still be occupied with just the price tag. You know, they want to go cheaper, as cheap as possible, but at the same time they want to over-deliver to do miracles for their website business. So how do you try not to compete with prices, but instead with value? I guess it has to do with convincing them that there is much more value to it than with the other SEOs.
This has been a pain in the ass for many years because as soon as you pick up the phone, they say, how much? Mm-hmm. That's all they say, how much? And you say, well, it's like a piece of string. It doesn't matter how much. Well, how much? That's all they want to know. But I turn that on its head. So I don't talk about price. I always get a budget off them, right? Once I've got their budget off the client, then I will put together a strategy plan based on what's realistic for that budget. Now, what that does is, okay, it took me a while to drag the budget out of them, but I just can say, well, I'm not moving forward until I have that, because I have clients paying £1,000 a month and I have clients paying 10 grand a month. Which end of the scale are you at? Because there's no point wasting yours or my time on putting a proposal together for £1,000 a month if you've got £200.
Yeah.
And that's how then suddenly the value, it's irrelative, because then the strategy is based on their budget. And again, it's up to you to put a proposal and strategy together to prove that, yes, you can do this and this is the estimated results.
Yes. So the next question has to do with some education, educating your clients to generate the best leads. So how do you generate the best leads? Do you educate them, meaning the companies that get in touch with you? Do you pick only the best companies according to you, or do you pretty much work with anyone? I mean, not you particularly, but if we're in the SEO business.
What side is this? Is it for an SEO agency like generating leads for themselves?
I think so. Yeah, we're talking only from the perspective of SEOs,
Yeah. Oh, well, from this prospect, it's all about your own sales, pre-sales strategy. So I'm very selective on what I write personally. When I write something, it's to a specific target audience and it has a purpose. And that usually drives in leads from that target audience. But if your company just receives leads from anywhere and you have to filter it, you always have to have a filter process during the sales funnel. So when you get a client, you'll say, well, there's certain questions you ask to filter them out. But for me personally, if it's not right, then I don't work with them during my own personal. Now it depends. Every SEO has their own personal funnel, and every SEO will work with various different clients. But it's all about creating your own lead generation and sales funnel, and it's all about being strategic who you target and how you target them. Because if you just throw anything out there, say, oh, I'll work with anyone possible, if you got 50 quid a month, come and work with me, or anything, then suddenly they're getting leads from this, that and the other. And the problem is that works against you if you're not targeted with the lead generation, because you just turn into busy fools. And next thing, you've got a sales team who are just run off the feet and not earning any money.
No. All right. So the next question has to do with pricing. So how do you increase your prices without upsetting your clients? I think there are two sides to it. the first side is your current clients, I think, and the next one is probably clients that haven't been your clients yet, but they know your prices, and then all of a sudden at some point they decide to become your clients, then they see brand new prices which are higher than before. So how do we explain this increase in price to our current or future clients?
Easy, generate the results, and they'll be happy to open the wallet. It's as simple as that. If you've got an existing client, if they're paying for X, give them X, Y, and Z. So I always over-deliver on my promise. And then they will, they're willing because they've seen results. The only reasons clients don't want to pay a premium or increase the budget is because you haven't proven yourself yet. But as soon as you prove yourself, they're willing to pay more. So it's not about increasing your prices because you just do more work. If you want to increase your hourly rate, then you have to give a why. Everything starts with a why. In business, and that's it. Is prove yourself, and they will. They're happy. Obviously, I've worked with clients who said, Mark, I just cannot take any more business on. Please don't drive anymore. But at least that's there because they've only a certain amount of in-house capacity. But as for potential clients, I never advertise prices, and I get around it by saying, well, what's your budget? The problem is if you start advertising your prices, then you've set yourself then, and it's difficult to change. So suddenly if you've stated on your website you charge £1,000 a month for X, well, why are they going to pay you £2,000 for that? Again, it's the why. You have to, why should I? From the client. If there's a reason why you've increased it, then that's a different scenario because you can prove why you've increased it.
Yeah. So a little addition to this question, which is coming from myself. So what are the signs that are telling you that, for example, you should increase your prices for a particular client? I mean, assuming that it's not the workload, because if it increases, of course, the price will accordingly increase too. But are there cases in which the price should be increased because of, for example, the results? And are the better results a reason for you to just increase the price as well? I mean, how does it work?
Yeah, well, for me, it's a case of I tend to work with clients where their average customer is worth a fair bit, right? Yeah. Now, from that is I can then, determine realistically from my end how much business we push. Now, if the clients earned an extra £500,000 because of my efforts, well, obviously I'm going to sit down and have a discussion because they're not going to say no because they're scared of losing that extra income.
Yes.
So it has to be based on the increase, not the revenue, the increased revenue they've generated because of you.
Yeah.
And that's the time you can sit down with them and say, look, because of the efforts I've put in, then your revenue has gone from that to that. And let's have a discussion. For me, business is all about starting a conversation.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't increase your prices just because you've got to rank number one. Because that's your job. Yeah. That's your job. You agreed to do that and achieve that based on that pricing structure. So for you to then come back and say, oh, well, I've done what I said, give me more money, that's not a reason for you to ask for more money. But if they've generated a lot, or you've made a significant change to that business, then that's the time you can start having them sort of discussions.
Yeah, I see. All right. This takes us to the next question, which is quite the opposite. So how to get rid of bad clients, but still keep the friendship alive? So even if the second part of the question was not, existent, so how to get rid of bad clients? Maybe to say what bad client actually means. Of course, it means different things to different people, but I think there is a way to generalize what a bad client is. Either the money he pays, or he's a pain in the ass all the time, picking on you and stuff.
Yeah. Basically, I'm just. Thing is, I've always been a person where I say what I think, and I'm just open and honest, and that's just me. Basically, I can't do it dancing around issues. I'm very open and honest and direct with clients. If there's an issue, let's sit down, talk about it. For instance, I'm working with a national UK brand, and they were paying up front. Then suddenly, the director said, well, you have to go on 60 days. So we want you to do the work for that month, then invoices, then we'll pay you 30 days after. So I said to him, that's not what you've agreed, and this is not how I work. And I'm not going to wait 60 days without any money. So unfortunately, if you don't want to stick to the terms you agreed, you'll have to go elsewhere, and that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But it's up to you, and just be direct with them. Usually what I find is a lot of people become bad clients because of things that are not in their control. 9 times out of 10, that's what happens. But if you sit down and say, look, John, I've noticed, this and that, what's wrong? Let's just be open and honest, what's wrong? Because there's always a solution to any problem. If they just a pain in the ass and they're just never going to change, then just fire them off. It's as simple as that, because you don't even want the friendship to, exist with them type of people.
Yeah, of course. All right. So a bit of a different angle on things. So what's the hardest challenge when scaling up your SEO agency? How do you build a fulfillment team?
Oh, for me, the hardest challenge has been servicing the clients. It's generating new business and new clients has been the easy bit for me for years and years. The hardest bit is to build the team, and to build the team that's going to stick with you, that's going to help you, that wants to do it. They've got the passion. The problem is nobody has the same passion for your business as you do. So what I call people 9-to-5 people. And what I've found is the big agencies with the deep pockets are getting all the good staff. But again, it's all about contracting your clients. If you do not contract your clients, you cannot scale up, because you'll be a hire and fire agency. Because it doesn't matter if you do a great job, clients still leave because they think they don't need you anymore. If they're not contracted, then you cannot scale. It's as simple as that. You can't. And like I said, the hardest thing for me throughout the years has been the recruitment side.
Yeah, I guess it's really hard from another perspective. I've always been working either by myself or recently with a very small team of a couple of people. And I guess it's a matter of a mindset. So some people are more, thinking about expanding. Others are more into the boutique type of agency where you work with a small number of clients, but they're better paying. They work with you on the long run. I'm from the latter. That's my mindset. But what if? Because this takes us to the next question. What if you want to outsource? What about SEO outsourcing? How do you build a good outsourcing teams? Because I know that it's really hard for me to find people who are at least close to my level of devotion. Obviously it's my own company. I get this. I started it. I'm an SEO. They probably aren't. They're probably copywriters or they're probably social media guys. But then again, it's really hard to meet the level of dedication that you're expecting of them. So what about outsourcing? It's even harder than being in-house. I find it difficult to find a good in-house team. What about outsourcing? Isn't it a very risky zone?
Well, I actually provided white label SEO services for over 10 years. Lots of agencies throughout the world come to me and outsource to me because the problem is, what other solution is there? If you go, offshore or whatever, is the thing about outsourcing is it's finding a reputable partner. Because unfortunately, once something's done, you can't change it. And as soon as the client gets wind of it, that's it. So throughout the years, it's a case of it's just finding that person. Now, the problem is there are good people out there you can outsource to, but they won't pay for it. Then it comes down to the profit margins just not there to outsource. So what's the solution? And this is for outsourcing personally, is I want to outsource. I'd rather build my own team up and train them. Even if they're not skilled, I will do that because I know is the only people I trust to do a good job. They flat out work themselves anyway. So for me, I don't have an option to outsource. Obviously, you can outsource bits of things, like there's certain people that specialise in speed optimization or things like that. But to outsource the whole campaign is you give the client a promise. And you need to make sure that, the outsourcing partner delivers on your promise. And it's always going to be an area that's going to have issues.
Yeah. And one additional question that has to do with this one, coming from myself again. Have you ever come across situations in which you are feeling that the company is outsourcing to you because you can do more than they? And to be even more precise, they don't know how to do SEO the right way, and they're aware of this, but their clients aren't. And that's why they turn to you, because they're charging them big money. They're just a big balloon, with nothing but a shell, but they want to keep their profits coming, so that's why they outreach to you. They say, we have tons of business, but we just don't have the time to deal with it. So we noticed that you're offering white label services. So would you take those couple of clients, under your command? Have you come across such situations, which again have to do with the ethical side of things?
Yeah, I mean, loads. In fact, last week over LinkedIn, someone contacted me and started a conversation saying, a few people have recommended you. And I said, well, what's your business? And what did they offer? SEO services. So my question was, well, if you offer this service, why are you coming to me? Blatantly honest, he turned around and said, because you're a lot better than we are. Now, I don't usually get that direct answer.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of agencies all over the world that appear to do it in-house, but don't. And I know that from experience because it was myself that provided the service. You know, and it's a massive market, but it's very profits are short. So you need volume to make the money.
Yeah. Actually, one of our members that is watching us right now is expanding on the topic. This big balloon was created by people selling how to create a digital agency in X way. In X days, pay my course 20K and earn minimum 200K in 6 months. So, yeah, I mean, again, the ethical part of things, which I think we shouldn't ever forget about. I mean, I know that everybody is after better profits and bigger names for themselves and their agency, but there has to be some decency, some, honesty in all this. I know that it all comes down to what kind of person you are, but still, I know that the two of us are strong believers in this concept. All right, Mark, we are entering the last 3 minutes. Of course, we can expand it a bit, but one additional question, which has nothing to do with the last couple of questions. So how to deal with brick and mortar businesses that have no interest in SEO? How to close such clients? For example, if you think that the market is overcrowded, so maybe you have decided that by going after such businesses that only have physical address, their own physical store, then you can convince them to come on board and become your clients. But then again, it's a totally different situation. And those people usually are very hard to convince because especially if their businesses are doing, decently. But on the other side, it's a good idea. So what if we decide to tap into this untapped market? What are the ways that we can do it with the best success?
Right. For one, is why you're trying to go out and convincing people that have no interest in your service when there's so many people that need the service and want it. Yeah. So one, you should be targeting them instead of trying to convince these other people. And two, if you do go into a market that they don't know anything about SEO and everything, it's all about you to prove the benefits, the whys. So when you approach them, is, well, these are the benefit to your company. And it's all about putting the strategy together and, saying, look, okay, you have no interest in SEO, that's fine. I mean, why should you? Is you're not an SEO professional, that's fine. But due to research, there is a big market and a big number of people searching for what you provide in your local area. If your research shows that nobody's searching for the business or the product or service they offer, you shouldn't really be going after them. And this is one of the problems. But if you've proven that there is, and you can, do a good job, then it's all about starting a conversation. That's it. It's all about taking it offline as soon as possible and starting a conversation just by asking them, you know, and just things like saying, oh, do you work with an agency at the moment? If you do, is it successful? Have you found any issues? You know, these type of questions you can ask. But yeah, I mean, I've got a contract to work with a big group of tradesmen, and before I know it, I was getting 2 or 3 new clients every day in the industry at one time. But I mean, that's a market that is, you know, they've no interest in it. But if you can prove to them that there is a market, yeah, they're willing to listen to you. If they think they are going to increase new business, they'll listen to you because they're business people. As soon as you mention money, then that's what they're interested in.
Yeah, that's as simple as that, really. Yeah, all right, Mark. This hour just flew by us. Yeah, it was very interesting to me. I sure hope that the audience feels the same way. Guys, there are tons of other questions that we weren't able to tackle. Sorry for this, but the format goes for an hour or so. So, Mark, let's wrap it up. Can you again remind the audience, because there might be some people that are just hopping in, about your book? At what date is it going to be published? What is it going to be like? And finally, where can people find you most often online?
Right. Well, my book, hopefully, fingers crossed, will be launched next week. I'm working with a publisher who's sorting that out, but there's certain things beyond our control that Amazon have to do. It will be available on Amazon, both in Kindle and paperback. But for everyone that's asked questions and participated, I will be sending a free digital copy to you.
Amazing.
Okay, so it's once it's all been launched, I'll send you a code for that. Where to find me? Obviously Facebook. Just search for Mark Preston SEO on Twitter, LinkedIn, or Facebook. I don't use any other platforms because it's hard enough to keep up with them 3. so yeah. I don't bother with any others. So yeah, that's all you have to search for. Mark Preston SEO, you'll find me. And I'm even on the first page of Google if you just search my name.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. All right, Mark, I want to thank you once again for this amazing session. I got tons of value from it and from every talk that we've been having in the past months. It's always a pleasure. Thanks, guys, for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. And we'll be seeing each other into the White Hat SEO group with the next AMA sessions to come. Mark, some final words before we let those people go.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. And please don't rip anyone off. Just be yourself and always put yourself in the shoes of the customer. Whatever you do, whether it's techniques or anything, put yourself in their shoes. During the sales process, through anything, then suddenly you'll start to think differently about the lead generation, the sales, and everything.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks, guys. That's a great way to finish the session. Thanks again, Mark, and see you guys soon. Have a nice one. Until the next time. Bye.
Bye.